Every study into the connection between wealth and health looks at it from the angle of how wealth impacts health, how being rich or poor affects your fitness and longevity. We want to know if it works the other way around too. Does being physically fit improve your ability to make money? Do the statistics support this?
And if there is an element of cause and effect between getting fit and getting rich, is it due to you gaining increased money-making abilities, or is it due to other people, such as potential employers, giving you more opportunities if you're in good shape physically? In this video, we're finding out if a good diet and regular exercise leads to financial rewards. Let's check it out.
Talking of sport and exercise, if you want to increase your monthly income, why not try your hand at match betting? It's a risk-free technique to profit from the free bets and incentives offered by bookmakers and can make you £500 plus every month for less than an hour a day of effort.
You don't even need to know anything about sports, as bets are placed on both possible outcomes for a guaranteed win. Check out the guide at moneyunshackled.com to find out more, and for the latest offers, link down below.
Exercise and entrepreneurs. Being fit and healthy is commonly cited as a reason for success amongst the world's entrepreneurs. Will Smith, self-made actor, director, businessman and multimillionaire, credits his success to running and reading in that order.
He says running trains you to keep pushing for bigger and better things. When you're running, you want to quit. If you learn how to defeat that person when you're running, you will learn how not to quit when things get hard in life. The analogy for wealth building and entrepreneurship is hopefully obvious.
Closer to home, UK investment property guru Mark Homer credits running every day with pal and fellow property kingpin Rob Moore as being the reason for his success. He says the energy boost it gives him allows him to work harder and focus the mind on making money.
Other anecdotal links between health and success. We'll get to the hard data soon, but first let us finish laying out our case for why we started looking into this connection in the first place. From what we've observed from everyday life, the highest paid positions in a company tend to be taken by physically fit and active people. Business people and entrepreneurs also tend to fit this description. Meanwhile, couch potatoes tend to end up in low-paid jobs and spend their breaks discussing the Netflix seasons they've just binged through.
Personally speaking, when I start the day with a run, I find I can blast through a 10-hour working day and do some of my best wealth creation. But when I start the day with a belly full of Domino's pizza but still digesting from the night before, an unproductive morning will be spent in recovery mode.
Of course, people are not all alike and the world is not as black and white as our anecdotes paint it, but on the whole, there does seem to be a link between health and wealth.
Science confirms it. Wealth correlates to health. In every study we've seen on the subject of wealth and health, there is widespread agreement that on average the two do correlate very closely. If you are wealthy, you are expected to live longer, have a better diet and exercise more. If you are poor, you will have a shorter life expectancy, have a worse diet and exercise less.
But in terms of which causes which, all the studies also seem to assume that your wealth is what determines your health, without much appreciation that the reverse may also be true.
One of these studies looked at Americans, a culture similar to our own, and concluded that the relationship between income and health is a gradient. They are connected stepwise at every level of the economic ladder. Or in other words, the study is saying that no matter your income level, if you had even a little more money, you'd also be likely to have better health. Here we see that as income increases, poor health decreases.
Interestingly, they could have reworded their conclusion so that the cause and effect were reversed and it would still reflect the data. Americans with worse health end up with lower incomes than those with better health.
Rich countries only. Another study differentiates between poor countries and rich countries. In poor countries, if you're obese, you're probably in the upper classes. It means you can afford to buy food. While in so-called rich countries, which includes the UK, obesity is highest amongst the poor.
This graph shows it nicely. The numbers along the bottom are the GDP per person for a country. The UK, for instance, is here at $40,000 per person per year. The left axis shows how likely a person is to be obese, with a low number being less likely.
In the poor countries, the richest people are shown here in brown, yellow and purple. They are more likely to be obese. Then there is an obesity transition zone, whereby in countries with average wealth, everyone is about as healthy as each other. Then when you get to the UK's level of wealth, the richest bands of citizens, those browns, yellows and purples, are the least likely to be obese. In Britain, everyone in theory has the opportunity to become wealthy. Let's now show how people's diet and exercise in the UK does directly impact their chances of becoming rich.
People in positions of power discriminate against the overweight. A recent study looked into the potentially powerful effects of weight bias in the workplace. Employers were asked to rate CVs that included photographs of non-obese people, as well as CVs with digitally altered photographs of those same people as obese.
The results showed that obese job candidates were deemed by the employers to be significantly less competent than the non-obese candidates, even though they were the same people photoshopped. Curiously, even employers who were themselves overweight showed a bias against obese candidates.
The study is supported by other research, which suggests that obese people are generally seen as less productive, less personable, lazier, and less intelligent than non-obese people.
We should pipe up here and clarify that these are not our opinions, but the opinions of the average person in various scientific studies.
The same researchers went further and showed that overweight people tend to earn less than their peers, assumed to be on account of the unconscious biases of the interviewers, managers, and colleagues they interact with throughout their careers.
White women were the most affected by weight bias. The study showed that an extra 4.5 stone, or 64 pounds of body weight, translated to a 9% decrease in wages on average.
In another study by the University of California, men with a normal healthy BMI first visited some shops looking like themselves, and then went to other shops wearing overweight prosthetics. While appearing to be overweight, the employees they interacted with smiled less, made less eye contact, stood further away from them, and tried to end the encounter more quickly. You can imagine how in a workplace setting, this would be disadvantageous to someone trying to climb the career ladder.
In a third study, scientists at the University of Exeter studied 70 genetic variants associated with body mass index using data from 120,000 UK citizens aged between 40 and 70. According to the study, if you're a stone or 14 pounds heavier for no other reason than genetics, you would have an income that is £1,500 less per year than someone a stone lighter of the same height.
The fact that weight discrimination is still relatively socially acceptable is a major issue for UK workers, and one that gets hardly any media coverage. Even though you shouldn't have to put up with discrimination of any kind, the cruel reality is that if you can trim a few pounds, the data suggests you're more likely to attract wealth over your lifetime, whether that's fair or not. If you're enjoying this content, please take a sec to hit the like and the subscribe buttons, and you can now also show your support for the channel with the new super thanks button below.
The mental boost from exercise for wealth creation. So, we've covered obesity and how it links to fewer wealth opportunities. Next, how do the mental benefits from exercise correlate with wealth creation? We couldn't find any direct studies into this, but there are many studies on the strong correlation between exercise and productivity, and being highly productive is a trait linked to entrepreneurship and wealth creation. In employment, more productive workers who can execute more tasks in less time are more likely to be promoted up the chain.
In Denmark, for instance, 15 randomised trials have been conducted introducing exercise at the workplace for 3,500 workers. The study covered a wide range of career paths, including office and computer workers, dentists, industrial technicians, cleaners, nurses, construction workers, and even helicopter pilots.
With just 1 hour of supervised exercise each week for a year, all studies showed improvements to workers' productivity versus control groups who did no exercise. The theory is that exercise improves your mental capacity to tackle difficult tasks. It's nice to put some data behind Will Smith's claim that regular exercise is what gave him the drive to pursue his millions.
The Danish study reflects a normal day's work for Japanese workers, who famously are given time each day to exercise, organised by their employers. Workplace exercise in Japan grew out of the philosophy of Kaizen, or continual improvement. Workplace exercise is believed to reap dividends in terms of the extra time and effort that workers can give to their role. Indeed, the average worker in Japan retires at age 70 versus 64 in the UK.
Will levelling up health make the UK richer? One of the better ideas of the UK government is to level up the country. The idea is a bit vague though, and is assumed by many to mean the wealthier south subsidising the north. But there's one area we can level up the country without taking from anyone, and that is health.
People are often unhealthy because they don't know any better. The UK could invest a lot more into encouraging people to eat better and exercise more through education, subsidies and tax breaks.
The money saved for the NHS could easily offset the cost, since treating obesity-related health issues costs more annually than the police, the fire service and the justice system combined. And we've shown today that on an individual level, levelling up everybody's health would improve their personal wealth creation opportunities, ultimately meaning way more tax revenue for HMRC.
Fitness as an investment. The day you start an exercise regime or a healthy eating plan, you won't see any improvement to your finances. Likely the opposite, since healthy food costs way more than junk food, and exercise equipment and gym memberships ain't cheap. What you see now though as an immediate expense could be thought of as an investment for the longer term into your body and mind becoming a more productive money-making machine.
If exercise in your 30s causes you to be full of vitality in your 50s, maybe you can work harder for more years without it feeling like such a chore. And in the here and now, you will be sharper of mind in your day-to-day work, more attractive in the literal sense to potential employers and business partners in this cutthroat world, and better able to work hard in your 30s to set yourself up for an earlier or more lucrative retirement.
Question of the day. Do you plan to make any changes as a result of this information? And how do you think diet and exercise links to money opportunities? Join the conversation in the comments below. Thanks for watching. On this channel we talk a lot about personal finance, investing and all things money. And if you want to see more great content, please click the subscribe button below.
This is moneyunshackled.com. See you next time.